Hi, I'm Jim with Pour the Juice, and in this video, I wanted to talk about Eagle Rare 12 year. I wanted to talk about some problems that I see in it that I don't see a lot of people talking about. And to get this set up, I figured, why not? I'll pour some Eagle Rare 10. That leads me to my first issue is that everybody else seems to have Eagle Rare 12 except for me, and I only have the 10 year. But that's just me being bitter. It's fine. Um, in all seriousness, there is like a kind of a large issue that I see with this new release, as good as what it seems to be, because everybody seems to love it. And every release from Buffalo Trace, I also love them. Big Tater, just like all of you probably are. Um, but the issue that I seem to have is that they're saying that it's going to be a shelf product, implying that Eagle Rare 12 will be available on shelves. And they're attributing this to the new distillery plant, warehouse, whatever you want to call it, that they've built recently, the last 2 years or so. And they're saying because of that, we're all going to be able to get Eagle Rare. My thought process on this is that if they wanted to make a shelf stable product, now was the time to do it instead of adding another product to their line. I can't find near me, and I hunt a lot of places for whiskey. I travel a decent amount. Um, I don't see Eagle Rare 10 sitting on shelves. So to me, the idea that a more rare Eagle Rare will be sitting on shelves soon just doesn't compute, especially when Eagle Rare 10 is still available. In my mind, they could have just taken what they're using for the 12 year and made more 10 year, and then maybe that would be shelf stable and we would see it all the time and people would be able to buy it whenever they go to their local liquor store. They wouldn't have to pay secondary for it. But I mean, that's not even happening with regular Buffalo Trace in most places. Even regular Buffalo Trace is kind of hard to come by still to this day, even though the market's dropped down a bit. Um, to me, what it looks like is the market's come down. Buffalo Trace still has their production for Eagle Rare. They're increasing production because of that new plant. And instead of having a surplus of Eagle Rare sitting on shelves, they would rather it be more rare. So they create another product in the line to keep it off shelves. Now, this is just me connecting dots of my own. I'm not taking this from anywhere. I didn't, hear it from anybody else, but that's what is kind of making common sense to me right now. If they wanted this to be a shelf stable product, they didn't have to come out with a 12 year. They could have just kept releasing this with more Eagle Rare and made it shelf stable. Instead, as people are buying less whiskey, they're dispersing their Eagle Rare into two new categories. One that's more rare than this one, which should, thinking about it, be more difficult to find. And now that there's two of them, it's going to be even more difficult to find. I just don't really understand it. Um, so I see this as a major problem for those looking to be able to get more Buffalo Trace products. Um, for those listening to what Sazerac and Buffalo Trace is saying about this being a shelf steady product and kind of like the future of their whiskeys. We're like I said, I'm a tater. I love Buffalo Trace, but I would like to be able to find it in my store again, like you could 10 years ago. Um, I'm a paying customer of theirs, just like all of you are, most of you are, if you're watching this video. And I'm sure you would like that too. You would like to be able to go buy Stag and Weller and all of your other favorites from Buffalo Trace. But this is kind of making me believe that if they have a surplus of their own whiskey, instead of making it a shelf stable product that you could buy anytime you want, they're just going to add another line to make it more rare. And maybe that's their business model. Maybe their business model is, they want to keep up the legend of Buffalo Trace, and you have to hunt for it, and maybe that makes it taste a little bit better when you find a bottle. But in my opinion, it tastes great anyway. I'm just rambling now. Moral of the story is, I don't think this is going to be a shelf stable product. Well, not this, the 12-year, or this one, to be honest with you. I think it's just another way to get us hunting for another legendary whiskey of theirs, hoping that we could find one at a reasonable price, the reasonable SRP that they're listing it for. I hope I'm wrong, but let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, if you agree with me, and if you've been able to find the Eagle Rare 12 near you and where you're at. I'd love to know. Also, please subscribe if you haven't yet and you enjoy my content. Yeah. Cheers.